Are you good?
Recording in progress.
Okay, am I on? What do I do?
You're on. You're always on.
Welcome.
Go, Dad.
One of the things I want to talk about before we get into meditation and get in touch with the past life is always when you do anything that has to do with psychic ability or spirituality, be ethical. If I find out that Kim murdered the King of France in 1066, I'm not going to run around and say, guess what Kim did, okay? This is her story. And whatever you hear from people, if you're doing psychic readings, if you're doing just conversation, and they say, I had a situation where somebody came and visited me in the middle of the night, you don't rush out to tell everybody. Well, guess what happened to Annie? This being ethical is something, and you don't tell people lies to make them feel better. If you have a connection with someone and all of a sudden you have a dream about them, you don't call and you saw their mother dying, you don't call them and say, oh, I just saw your mother dying, but you don't call them and say, oh, your mother came through and she's doing beautifully. You just call and say, how's your mom? I had a dream about her and I was just wondering how she's doing. Start looking at the ethics of psychic, spirituality, and all that. Very, 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 very important you do. And don't get into business with your clients. Okay? That's what happened to Sylvia Brown. She had major problems because of something she did. She told somebody to invest in a stock, and they did, and they went bankrupt. And they sued her. Okay, and you say, well, this is just a psychic reading. Well, it was presented as this is information you need to know. And so the reason I say that is because you can always help somebody if you are there listening and giving them some information that you think that they need to know. But don't labor it if it's negative, okay? So just one of those things to remind you, I think you all know this, okay? So, Corky, are the lights as low as they can be so we can record this?
Yeah, hold a second.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Because I
Okay.
want you to get comfortable. Find a comfortable place there. Where we have the wonderful outlets for, right here is a cool air outlet. You're going to get air on you, Christina, that's cool. See, and so just know that's where it's coming from. And the same thing is true over here behind you. It's coming right over in that middle of the room there. So if you're feeling cool, move. And now's a good time to feel we're kind of a warmer place. We unfortunately don't have the best air conditioning in here.
Let me
Okay?
turn off the air.
Yes, thank you. If it gets warm in here, that does not mean you're going to hell. It just means that it is getting warmer in here because it's a little bit warm outside. So just know that you're in charge of where you're going. And when I start doing a meditation for you, I want you to just follow it. Don't question it. Don't say, oh, I don't want to do that. Well, that's wrong. Just flow with my voice. And let's put you in a place where you can actually get in touch with a past life. And when you come back, you have a sheet that you can fill out. And it's called My Past Life. Well, I think everything is. And it asks questions about what was happening in that lifetime. And it's white, and it's for you. And I'm going to ask you if you want to share. And you can always say pass. You don't have to share if you don't want to share. But sometimes it's so interesting, you want to let people know what it's about. Now, for people who might be just signing on, we have the first part of this was recorded, and Corky will send you a copy of the recording so you can come up to date on what we're doing. You also have handouts that you're going to be getting, and please let us know if you don't think we have your email address. If you do, all of these are on email, so we can send them to you and make you a part of this group, okay? I'd like you to all take a nice deep breath. Put your feet flat on the floor, as comfortable as you can. And then just roll your shoulders backwards. Take a nice deep breath. And just slow down your breathing. Take another nice deep breath. We're going to go on a journey to get in touch with your past life. And the way we're going to do it is by a wonderful, mysterious cloud that is going to be our vehicle. So I want you to visualize yourself walking out the back door. And there in the parking lot is this beautiful white cloud. And it's just there, about 2 inches off the ground. And this is a solid little cloud, and it's big enough to hold everyone. And there's other little clouds out there that can hold just you if you want. If you prefer your only cloud, that's fine. But I want you to climb aboard a cloud and settle into it and feel this cloud wrap around you, nice and warm and comfortable. And now the cloud is going to raise up. And as it starts rising up, you can look down and you can see San Jose. And as you look down and you can see San Jose, you notice that the topography is changing. You're not in a valley. You're moving across a plain. Things are fairly flat. You can see green trees, and it's beautiful to see the tops of green trees. And you see buildings, very different, unique buildings. And every once in a while you go across a field of grain or a vineyard, and then back over a city again. And as you go along, this cloud is so tuned in to your previous incarnations, it will gently start lowering down when you reach an area where you've been before in a previous life. So as the cloud is moving, you all of a sudden feel it starting to descend. Now this cloud can move as fast as the speed of light. So wherever you are on the planet or on another planet, this cloud gets you there very fast. And as you start your descent, you notice that there's smells. You can smell the land. And as you smell the land, you can feel the humidity or lack of it. And as the cloud slowly slinks down, it very gently touches down on the earth. Feel yourself get stable, and then step off the cloud. And start walking in any direction you want. But about the third step, look down at your body. It's on your feet. What are you wearing? Shoes, boots, barefoot? And then come up your legs. Say, are you wearing a dress, pants, breeches, loincloth? What are you wearing on your body? And then all the way up to your neck. Is there something precious that you're wearing around your neck? And then come on up to your face. And you might even take your hands and touch your face. Is your hair short or long? Do you feel that the world has changed by the feel of your face and what you're wearing? And now ask yourself, am I male or am I female? Or do I care? Whatever I decide that my gender is in this lifetime is because this lifetime is talking to me. And now let's take a few more steps. And as you walk, you see a pathway. For some of you, it's a busy city street. Others, it's a pathway. Others, it may be a brick walkway. But as you put each foot down, each step you take, look ahead of you. Where are you going? And just keep walking. And now you smell something different. It's food cooking. Oh, and it smells so good. It's a smell that you can relate to almost. It's a little bit different. So you follow the smell. And as you get closer and you can feel that smell stronger and stronger, you start hearing music. The music is coming from a group of people who have formed a circle. For some of you, this circle is made of benches. Others, it's made of chairs. Others, this circle is made of people sitting on the ground. But these people are making music. And you stop. You can hear the music in your head, and you can smell the food. And you keep walking until you come to a small dwelling place. And you follow that smell into the house. For some, this dwelling place is more like a cave. For some of you, it's a house. Some of you, it's a castle. But whatever this dwelling place looks like, you follow it to the place where food is cooked. And there, over fire, you see a roasted chicken. And you can smell the smell of chicken. And you can smell the vegetables that are there. And as you stand there, all of a sudden, you are aware that you are not alone. A woman walks in and smiles and says, "There you are." And you look at her, and you can feel her in your heart. This is your mother. She has been your mother in a few lifetimes. For some of you, it's your mother now. For some of you, it's your mother who is in spirit, who's come to be a part of this past life. And as you stand there feeling the love that vibrates, realize that you now understand her, for you didn't always in this lifetime. There wasn't always good communication. But now that you're in spirit, there's this positive communication. And she says, "Sit down and eat." And as you sit down, you notice that there are other people coming in to eat, and they're all smiling at you and saying they are excited to see you. And you realize this is part of an extended family. There's a grandmother and nieces and nephews and brothers and sisters, and your mother, and a man that you feel is your father is there. Even though some of you had never met your father before, this is the first time. And one of the younger people says, "Let's go dance to the music." And you look down, realize you haven't eaten your dinner, but the thrill of going out dancing overrides everything. And you walk out the door and you walk over to the circle of people. And as you look at them, you realize this is your tribe. This is your clan. This is your group. These are your people. And male and female people sitting in a circle with different type of clothing. And running around are small children and dogs. And laughter prevails. It's a joyous time. It's a celebration. This is a festival. And everybody says, "Hurry up. They're going to play again." And sure enough, the music starts up. And someone walks up and says, "Would you like to dance?" And you think, "I don't know how to dance this music." And yet, the minute they put their arms around you, you start to dance. You start to move to the music, and you know this person. This is somebody you have met before, but maybe not in this lifetime, but in dream time, in memory time. And dancing with this person just takes you further and further and deeper into this lifetime. And you get twirled around and you're laughing, and everything about this lifetime feels so good. And then you hear a man talking, and you look around, and there it is, standing on something like a stage or an outcropping. And he's talking to the people and telling the people that this is a beautiful day, that this is in memory of you. This is an observance of who you are and what you were in this lifetime. And tales are told about your heroism. Tales are told about your love and your abilities. And as you listen, you could just pull closer and closer to the speaker. And there again, you recognize this speaker. This speaker is somebody who in this lifetime has either been a boss or a teacher or a political figure. Somebody that when you looked at, you immediately trusted. And as he stands there talking, you feel that this is somebody who was very, very important. And as he looks at you, as the speaker looks at you, he calls you by name. And you go, oh, that's my name. Catch that name midair. Catch that name that was given to you as your name in this incarnation. And now as you turn around and start walking, because you see more people, and they're entering a building where they all seem to go in, and when they come out, they're all smiling. And you think, I want to go in that building. And as you do, you walk in the building and you look, and on the walls of this building are mirrors. And the first mirror shows you of you as a child in this lifetime. This past life, you see yourself as a child. And as you go to the next mirror, it's a little more ornate, and you see yourself as a teenager and all the accolades you received for helping people. And the next mirror you go to, you see yourself getting married at this past life. And the smile on your face and the smile on the person you're marrying. And then you move over to another lifetime, and it shows you doing courageous things and helping people. Some of it is by being there when people needed you. And then you go to another mirror, and as you look in, you see that you've gotten older, and your hair has white in it, and your skin isn't as bright as it was. And then you move to the next mirror, and it's very shimmery. And you realize that was the mirror where you ended your lifetime in this incarnation. Nothing was scary. Everything was positive. And as you're sitting there, looking around at all the mirrors, you realize that your being and your beingness has been in this incarnation so fully that you will remember it when you come back to the room. And as you leave the room, there is a small child outside, and he has his hand out and says, could I have, and whether it's money, whether it's beads, whether it's food, whatever, this child has a hand cupped and turned upward to you. And you put your hand in your pocket, your satchel, your purse, your loincloth, and you pull out something that is valuable for this child. And as this child smiles, you realize this is a child you're going to be meeting in 2020, 2021. This is a child that has a lot to give you as far as gifts to repay you for your kindness. And now, as you take a few more steps, the cloud settles down. And you look around at all the people that are cheering, and all the people that are glad you came to visit. And as you step on the cloud, you feel like the wizard leaving Oz. You feel that where you were is where you needed to be at a time that helped everyone. But now it's time to come back to 2021 and CCL. And as this wonderful cloud raises up with you on it, you notice all of the flora and fauna, the flowers. It looks a lot greener than when you landed. And you look down on your clothes, and your clothes have changed back to the clothes you were wearing when you came into CCL. And slowly you move up and higher, and you can feel the spirits surrounding you and above you who are cheering you on to find out who you are why you were, what you accomplished in this last lifetime. What you have accomplished was so important to other people and to yourself. And it's now time to come back. And as your cloud lands in the parking lot, take a nice deep breath and realize that you have been on a journey to a past life. And you can go back anytime you choose. And don't forget the faces that you saw, because many of them have been incorporated into this lifetime. And now you know when you see that. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay, Luann, how'd you do?
I don't ever do well.
That's okay.
It's a quirkiness. I get very, very relaxed, but I'm not good at when
Meditation.
seeing things yet.
Yeah, seeing things, that's
Yeah, but the
fine.
feelings are all there.
Good, write them down. You have a slip here, you can write them down, okay? Okay, Maria, how did you do? That's exactly the right face.
Yeah.
Is that the right face?
Mhm.
Because
That's
what I
like-
was seeing wasn't even in conjunction with what
Right,
you were
that
saying.
says, I went on my own trip and I don't know what the heck you were talking about.
Yeah, I went on my own trip and occasionally I'd hear something, I'm like, oh, that's not what's going on
You
here.
didn't get lost, did you?
Yeah, so what did you see?
I saw a male face. I thought when I saw it initially it was sort of Mediterranean-ish, olive-ish. But then at some point in time, I was in clayish buildings that felt
Like
they were.
Pueblo or something like that?
The-
Like a Pueblo or something like that?
Yeah, like a Pueblo or something like that. It was like in a hill, a mountain or something.
Mhm.
So,
How did you feel?
it was interesting. I smelled spices.
Mhm.
So when I first felt it and I smelled the spices, I thought maybe I was in India. But the buildings weren't that. In other
Oh.
words, bread and,
What color was your skin? You said Mediterranean on one of them?
yeah, I thought it was Mediterranean, but it was kind of tanned. you know,
Okay, good.
with bushy eyebrows and,
Yeah, wasn't it nice to look in a mirror and see what you look like in that lifetime?
well, at the beginning, I had a flash of, before I got to the mirror. It was like you're saying, look in the mirror, I'm like, where's the mirror?
You was in that building of the Museum of Mirrors.
Yeah, I was looking, I don't see any mirrors, but I did see a flash,
Good.
so, of the place.
Well, write it down as much as you can remember. As soon as you write it down, it's going to bring out new memories that you had that you didn't realize. Thank you. Luann, how'd you do?
I just saw a very lush, otherworldly escape with a green haze. And I hit more than one different, that one was very brief, and then it completely flipped into what was much more earth-like. It was,
Can you
warfare.
talk a little bit louder?
It was, sorry, yeah, it was, I was in a war zone, but clearly on Earth I started scrunching up my face because I felt my eyes burning, and I felt like the singe of smoke, and it felt like acid,
Ooh,
like acid in the air, like
Uh-huh.
droplets. I couldn't quite place where yet, but I felt I was a child at first, but then I also felt some connection to the commander, which I was,
mm-hmm.
to dive deeper to see where,
Right, right.
but it was trenches of some sort.
Okay. But wherever you were, how did you think people acknowledged you?
I first thought I was the child. I and I was completely unacknowledged. I was
Uh-huh.
alone. And then just felt drawn to the soldier. And then there was a lot of attention for being a commanding, I was clearly an officer of some sort.
Right.
So it's very strange.
No, it's not. It sounds like a past life when you flip in and out of what was going on in that lifetime. But write it down, so you, I mean, say what kind of if I was a soldier, what color was my uniform? You know,
It was all
because,
black, no distinguishing marks.
Okay.
Black, black.
perfect. So just start following this and write it down. Okay, Annie, how would you do?
It was kind of weird because when I looked down at myself, it was like wearing a pioneer kind of dress.
Uh-huh.
And he says you go up, you know, there was a bonnet, but I was barefoot, and the smells were not like a prairie or anything. It was more like tar. It was kind of a
Wow.
almost a chemical-y kind of smell. You notice I almost started to cough a little bit. There was like a choking. I had to move away from that energy of whatever it was. There's no fear or anything. And then when you said, you know, they're cooking, and I went chicken, and then you said chicken. So, but
I was trying to think of something that would be cooking that they do in just about every every place on the planet. You know,
yeah, I mean,
chicken.
I was walking. I mean, I was mostly walking on my own. I don't remember. I mean, there were other people around, but it was almost as though we weren't connected. And it was almost like a, you know, like a.
Well, do you think they could see you?
I think that some could see me and some could
Yeah,
not.
you could have still been so much in a spiritual body that you were moving through people, but they weren't aware of you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Nothing really outstanding, you know, but interesting that I was like, what am I doing in pioneer gear? You know, when this didn't feel like a pioneer, it almost felt industrial in
Yeah.
a way.
Did you get a name?
No, it was
Okay.
not. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Kim?
I'm not really, I don't see things.
Okay, don't negate it.
Yeah.
Just take that information that I gave you, and then before you go to bed at night, just say, I really want to get in touch with a past life. Would you give it to me in a dream? See, what happens is, if we have a lot of past lives where you don't feel you were fairly treated, you don't feel like, instead of looking at it as, I've overcome that, you go, wait a minute, people are taking advantage of me still. When am I going to learn? You're not going to look at a past life if you feel like you're still walking in that same trench.
Mm-hmm.
And so what you do is you say, well, I can't get out of that trench unless I acknowledge it. So you ask your dream maker, would you please show me in a dream how I climb out of whatever it is that has been bothering you? Sometimes I have people that were constantly being abused, physically they were spanked. When they were adults, they got beat, and so they don't want to go back and look at that. So but in dream time, it seems softer, and you're able to see it, and then look down and say, did I get in dream time any of these things? Yeah, good. Okay, Christina.
So, I usually don't see a whole lot, but I feel like this time I saw a lot. As soon
Good.
as you said, like, what do you look like, I saw, like, black hair with, like, some kind of waves coming down. And then you're like, well, what are you wearing? And I couldn't really make out, like, shoes or clothes. It was not very distinguishable, but I had this necklace that I was really proud of. It was like a red, maybe, I don't want to say ruby, but it was, like, definitely, like, big circles.
We'll say garnet. How's that?
Yes,
Yeah.
something fancy. I felt like it was fancy.
Yeah.
And there was just so much love. Like, there were so many people, and, like, originally, like, I kind of landed in this place, this kind of, like, tall grassy area, not really, like, forest, but not really, you know, and then I kind of got, like, you're like, where are you? I'm like, oh, this feels like Rome, you know, someplace like that, and there were, like walls of, it was a city, it wasn't that big, but, you know, like, all the houses were together, you know, like, people had their own rooms
Mhm.
and their own homes, but it was just like a big block, right, and like the
Like
homes
San
were all
Francisco.
together. Yeah, but it was old time, right?
Right.
Yeah, and then there was like, there was music and people were super happy in the house that I went into. I feel like mom wasn't my mom now.
Right.
Probably more like my grandma or somebody, but like everybody was happy and
Good.
it was good. And then, I mean, when you were like smells, I smelled onions right away. When you said name, I was like, Letty or Leticia. And I'm like, that can't be right. I have a friend named that. And then I was like, no, that's right.
Uh-huh.
Like I kept kind of doing that, you know,
Right,
like this
right.
is,
Where's this coming from?
yeah, where
I'm
is
just
this?
making this up. Why?
Yeah, but then like I just felt like, no, just keep going with it, you know.
Good. Good, good, good.
And then when I saw the little boy that you were describing, I was like, well, here, you should take this necklace because this is really cool. So I gave him that necklace. And, yeah, it was good.
Great.
I really
I do
enjoyed
remember I
it.
gave the little boy some seeds.
Some seeds?
Seeds.
Yeah. Yeah, that little boy that was standing there outside the Museum of Mirrors, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, okay.
In the mirrors, I couldn't really see much of anything. It was too hazy.
Uh-huh.
Like you try to look at the details and I had a hard time with that.
Great, great. Corky, how'd you do?
I think I would sleep.
But that sounds like a Corky
Ah, and it was very, very comforting. Thank you.
Good,
We
good,
snoring
good,
together. We were snoring together.
And the reason I wanted you to write them down, because you're gonna find, like you're saying, I didn't remember anything. Food, well, no, there I smelled something. Childhood activities, oh, well, I remember that little kid. You know, what this does is it reminds you of things that you had forgotten you saw. Because your brain is not ready to just accept this as truth. Your brain is going, it's kind of like watching a movie and you're not involved. Okay, it's like you're watching something on a screen and you're going, oh, that's interesting, but you don't really own it. And so when you start writing down how you felt about it, that's when you own it. Okay, so try that. Try seeing if that doesn't help. Now you can do this at home. I've got a spell to remember a past life in your packet of things. And what I do is this apparition cannot hurt you, but what I'd like for you to do, if you do it, is have somebody else in the house, okay? Because I'll tell you why, because you can scare yourself. You stand and you take a candle and put it on any little ledge in the bathroom, and that's what this white candle is, okay? And then look in the mirror and just stare. Okay.
Whenever I do that, the flame just goes pop, 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 pop.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just like-
being fed energy.
It dances,
And
yeah.
just stare at that you. And as you stare in your eyes, all of a sudden you're gonna realize the eyes looking back aren't yours.
Mm.
Scare the heck out of you if you haven't protected yourself before you do it. So always protect yourself with white light before you do this. But it's one of the ways that you can find a past life that's very, very interesting. And it's just you. And you're looking at yourself. And yet you're either going, wow, I'm beautiful. Or, ooh, what's that? I never knew my nose looked like that. Or, I mean, you're getting to judgment, and it's you. But you're looking at yourself in a different way. Most of us never stand and just look at ourselves in a mirror. If we're either putting on makeup or we're cleaning the mirror or something, but just and do that and make sure that you have a notebook and a pen. So right after you do that, sit down and write down again. What did you see? One of the things that I found when I do that is sometimes I have something like a wolf looking back.
A what?
Wolf. A wolf.
Oh.
And so my face becomes elongated and I get a lot of hair. I don't have much in this lifetime, and so I know it's not me. But it becomes almost wolf-like. And the first time that happened, I got so scared by that picture. And then I realized this is an illusion. What does a wolf picture mean to me? Okay. Now, what would you think I'd come up with? What does a wolf illusion mean to me?
Family.
What?
Family?
Family? What else? Leader of the pack. That's the kind of wolf I saw. And it's female wolves are the leaders of the pack. So I went, whoa, this is a really healthy look. But if I hadn't have done that kind of research into myself, what does this mean? I wouldn't have gotten it. And then I felt, oh, there's strength there. There's a, and that was a real good thing. I've seen people watch themselves emerge as a clown.
Wow.
All of a sudden, there's a clown look looking back
Yeah,
at
that
them.
would scare me.
Yeah, right. And then you say, okay, well, how do you feel yourself? Well, everybody in my family thinks I'm the clown. Okay, can you accept it? Can you accept that that's the vision you're giving other people of you? Is what you're seeing in the mirror reflecting back. And it's very interesting, but I always have, since you can go to kind of a scary place, I always say, you don't have to say to somebody, come stand in the bathroom with me.
In the other room while I-
Just make sure you're in the other room, so there's somebody else in the house. And the reason why do I say bathroom? Because it's got usually a pretty good mirror. The mirrors you buy just for decoration usually aren't as good as the bathroom mirror is at a good reflection. And the lighting is usually pretty good in the bathroom. It's usually, something you turn on and really shine. So when you look in the mirror, it's a very interesting.
So the candle's not for the light?
What?
The candle's not for the light
No.
to get the.
You
Okay.
turn
That
off
would be
the
pretty
light,
intense.
and then you turn the light back on.
Okay.
Yeah, Annie.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask.
Not just like,
Yeah, you do, you have the candle light, and you look at yourself, and you look at yourself, and you see this, and you have the candle switch right here, so in case you get scared, you flip on the light.
Right there on the wall.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that's very interesting, because it's you getting in touch with a part of you that you've never known about before. And I've had people come up and say, you won't believe what I saw. Okay. What kind of questions do you have?
I have a question.
Yeah.
When I was young, probably around 5, I went for a really long time having like the same dreams all the time.
That wasn't a dream, it was a past life.
Okay, well,
Well, then,
well then, the car fell through the roof and like 30 stories, and when I landed, I was like in under the street, and you know how when there's the hole.
Subterranean, yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, what the hell? And I had this dream forever. I could just tell you every single thing. But when I got up and I looked, it was like a western town, but it was all aliens. And I'm looking going, really? And then all of a sudden somebody went, oh, no, don't look at me. And then I wake up.
Mhm.
And it's just like,
Write it down.
oh,
write it
well,
down.
that was a dream I had just every night. I
Yeah,
could
but
count on
there's
it.
something from a past life. 5 is almost every psychic you hear, they'll say, when I was 5 years old,
Yes.
this happened. Well, why do you think that is? It not as much anymore, but it used to be you hadn't gone to school yet.
Well, my
So-
brothers drug me up the stairs in this house, and when I got up there, there was a 55 Chevy, and we were playing in it, and all this stuff, and all of a sudden, everybody disappeared, and then the roof caved in. And I was going through just down into a hole. It was like, geez. But I never saw anybody after that, just me falling through the hole.
Yeah, there was something else going on in your life, and you were also accessing some
I
past
saw
life.
my brothers beating me up as usual.
Yeah,
So is a recurring dream when you were a child normally a past life, or could it be premonition?
and both. And that is such a, as I said, so many times you'll hear people say, well, we're around 4 or 5. And that's
Yeah.
because you've learned how to acknowledge things, you've learned how to reason, all of the things, all of the tools that you need in life you've learned about, then. And, but you haven't been told by somebody that you can't do it,
Right,
okay?
yeah, okay.
And so that's, I was reading when I was 4. And,
Yeah, I was too.
but the thing is, I was reading upside down because my grandfather read too slowly. So I was sitting across from him and I learned how to read. So I could get the story faster than Grandpa was reading, you know? And really helped when I was a contract buyer for Lockheed. I could read contracts. If somebody put a contract down, they were reading it, I could read it just as fast sitting across from them.
Yeah.
Weird little
Ah.
Well,
skill
that's
to
almost
have.
creepy, really? That's weird.
Yeah.
Because I asked that
It is
because when I was around 4, I had a recurring dream.
Do they have a word for that? It's like not dyslexic, but.
I believe that it was premonition of my father dying
Right,
because of what the dream was about.
right.
Because I couldn't get to him. He was standing there with his arms out to me and I was running, and I never could get any closer to him.
Mhm.
And I was being chased.
Uh-huh.
And so,
Who was chasing you?
all I know is the bad guys.
Right, right.
Bad guys were chasing me. My father was standing there trying to, with his arms out.
Mm.
And
I
this could have been a
couldn't-
message from your father too.
Yeah, it was right before he died,
Right,
so,
yeah. Could he be saying, Annie, I'll take care of you?
right.
Yeah. So there, remember, we connect with people. Talk about connecting with people. What are the lights doing?
Yeah, she's just playing with buttons.
Anyway, 'cause
So,
that-
but so much of this, when you get into looking into a spiritualistic behavior of what different things do and different people do, there are people who can hear vegetables grow. And you go, wow. And they say, you know, it drives me crazy in the springtime when they can hear everything growing. And that would be kind of frustrating. You know, there's people that can smell the weather changing. There's people that can see things in the, I'm one of those, I love to see things in the clouds. I don't know how many other of you do, but to make out shapes and all that in the clouds, to me that's really fun. There's so many things that you can do. One of the classes I teach is how to change stoplights and how to move clouds. And you have that power. Each one of you is the most powerful being for you there is. So don't give away your power by thinking that everybody else can do things better than you can. You do things that to the best of your capacity in this lifetime. You can't do it all. And find the things that you do well and take a tennis ball and a piece of wood and bounce it up and down. But something that you do well and start saying, I know I do this well. I mean, like people running over here like Lauren and Christina and looking at the computer and talking of computer ease for me. It's a miracle. You know, I just, but I also can fix a hay baler. You know, there's different things that you do that you're good at because you needed to be at that time. Right now, your generation really needs to know about computers for you to succeed and for you to move forward. And so, but it's still a gift for people who are older. It's kind of like, wow. Like I said, I have lived 3 lives in the 1930s. I had lived Ashante in the 1930s. I had a little black girl. I was in the 1930s, and I was born in the 30s. So that I am very much of a historian of that era, because that's when I was, and we had a big depression going on. So there was a lot of stuff happening, and so look at what area in your life really made a difference. So you want to go back and look at it again. And ask your spirit guide to help you look at another time.
Oh, I keep her so busy.
I mean, there's so many different things that we choose to do that we then say that was bad. No, it wasn't. It was just different. It wasn't bad. You learn everything that you do. You learn from. It could be positive. It could be negative. It could just be bland. You know, have you ever done something that was just you know, well, usually you don't do that again. It was just kind of, you know. But if it was good, you'll do it again. If it was bad, you'll find a way to stay away from it or change it. Do you realize that every thought you have, you can change the way you look at it?
Yeah.
So when you say, oh, well, so-and-so was mean to me, stop and say, so-and-so was doing what they do. Okay. If you have a brother that used to hit you, why did brother hit you? Probably because he was frustrated. Doesn't mean he should have hit you, but look at the fact there was something else going on. And so as you look at the other people, you look at them from the viewpoint of, oh, that's the type of person I've encountered before. How did I deal with it in the past? And learn from it. You can learn a lot of lessons. Okay, folks, I think that's about it. I'm going to be doing a workshop on June 26th of Getting in Touch with Past Lives, and it's going to be from 10 until 4. If you've taken this class, it's $30. If you haven't taken this class, it's $50. So, because what I want to do is get you more involved in going inside. And this next time we're going to be having a lot of different tools for you to learn. How do you get in touch with past lives? How do you get in touch with what made you who you are? Why did you choose to be who you are? You could have you as a spirit, you could choose just about anything. Why did you choose you? Why did your children choose you? And that's a whole nother thing. Because Ma says that each spirit that is born because they chose that person to be their parent, particularly mother, sometimes father, for what they need to learn spiritually.
So in a couple of weeks, we have Ma Speaks.
Couple of weeks we have Ma Speaks. If you come, bring some really interesting questions. Okay?
Like what?
Like,
What do you find interesting?
well, yeah, what you find interesting, I might not necessarily be interesting to me, but it's always interesting to Ma. I never know what he's going to answer. He says the strangest things. And I wish I could remember more what he says, but he just comes up with things that are so unbelievable because he's so, he's always so loving that, I get into, and he says something that you just, what was that? He says, stop being a dam and let the river flow. I was so upset with somebody, stop being a dam, let the river flow. And I thought, God, I have a T-shirt that says that. Don't get your feelings all in an up or
Your knickers in a...
just let it flow. And well, thank you, Ma. And the client, when I said this to the client, she said, oh, I'm going to remember that.
Yeah,
I said, good, I'll try and do it too.
Yeah.
But Ma comes
Very
up with
clever.
things that are so different from the way I think that I was amazed.
When was he on this plane?
He died in 1822.
Okay. Well, I find that interesting.
And when I first met him, and I thought he had a bandage on his head because it was during the Second World War, but he had a turban. And one day I said, Ma, are you Sikh because you're wearing a turban? And he said, no, I wear a turban because I look good in it. Ma, he's Hindu, from India. And I've got to tell you this because it was so sad this week. This was this week or last week?
Last week.
Last week. I started to do a reading and Ma was just low key. And I said to the client, wait a minute, I've got to ask Ma what's going on. And he said, my people are dying. And I said, Ma? And he said, no, death is not bad. Death is a continuation, but fear isn't. And they're in fear. And to hear a spirit guide sad, it was like, oh my gosh, Ma, because I have 3 clients named Punita, and they're all from India, and they were all trying to get home to their family. And so finally, Ma was really pulled down by it all, and wanted to try and help them. And each one of them, when they called and asked me, I said, you won't be able to get back. And that was true, they shut the borders. So I'm glad they didn't go. But for him to be feeling the fear in spirit, it was really, I just thought, that's rough.
I work with
a lot of
people
fear.
in India.
But,
I said I work with a lot of people in India.
yeah.
What does Ma think about the whole COVID?
Well,
I mean,
he said, I've been through 3 pandemics, 3
Plagues.
3 plagues. And he said, so, you're gonna die? Okay. You're not gonna die? Okay. It's how you handle It's how people handle it. There again, stay away from fear. That's what he was saying with the people. It's not about dying, it's staying away from the fear. And if you're fearful of getting COVID, do whatever you can to not get it.
Yeah.
And if you're not fearful, I have people that say, I'm not fearful, I've got this immunity. Well, good. Ma says, I've lost 5 people by death of COVID, and I counted up one day how many people I know that have had it, and I was at 55. So for me, it really hit, but I know a lot of people, that would call me and let me know what was going on. And that's a lot of people for one person to be infected.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But it's not one of those things you argue with. When people tell you what they're gonna do, and you say, okay. Remember, you can't argue anybody out of thinking the way you want them to. Or into the way, either way it goes. You can't argue them into your way of thinking or out of their way of thinking. It very seldom works. And,
Is this another Thursday one?
but
It should be 17th, I'll have to come.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
there's a schedule over there. They'll tell you what's up.
yeah,
I know, it doesn't say what week, day,
Oh.
just the
no,
date.
it's always on Thursday.
It's always on Thursdays.
Yeah,
unless a
it's been on
Saturday.
Thursday for 22 years.
Okay.
Okay, so
Thank you.
shall I close it
I
up?
think
You
so.
guys are Thursday nights when I first met you all those years?
How long have you known me?
Close to 30.
30 years,
Yeah. Actually, more than 30 at this point, 32 or 30, so.
give or take a few years, what the heck.
So I'm turning off the recording.
Okay, thank
Good
you.
night, everyone.
So sorry about the